How's it going, my friends? My name is Gary and this is my channel Weakest to Weeks. If you're a first time viewer, I appreciate you clicking on the video and definitely consider subscribing. Today we're working on my wife's 2017 Mazda CX-5 Grand Touring, but if you've ever had the pleasure of working on anything more modern with an electric parking brake, it makes the pad change a little more complicated than it needs to be. Basically, there is a solenoid on the brake caliper mounted directly to it that you need to deactivate, release, or back out so you can change the pads. Now, for many years, and still on a lot of different vehicles, you can use what's called like a C-clamp and compress everything in. But on the more modern stuff, it gets a little more fancy and you have to get a little creative. You can jump the solenoid to back it out, but today's day and age, there's some tools for this, and this is TopDon. So TopDon has been a channel supporter for a while now, and I appreciate them sending this out. This is a Bluetooth check engine light scanner. It reads DTCs, diagnostic trouble codes. There's different things that you can do with it, and I believe we're going to be able to activate or deactivate, whatever you want to call it, to release that electric parking brake system so we can do a simple pad change on the rear end of this Mazda. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. But what you need to do is find the onboard diagnostic 2 port, the OBD2 port, and it'll only go one way. Plug it in, you'll get a beep. Looks like a red light. Now what we have to do, consult with the instructions and download the app on your smartphone. Go ahead, read the privacy statement. Then what you need to do is log in. If you don't already have an account, create one. Extremely simple. Just need an email and a password. Now that the scanner is plugged into the OBD2 port, you have the app downloaded and registered on your phone. If you have a push button start, go ahead, hold it in. Do not have your foot on the brake if it's an automatic transmission, otherwise the vehicle starts. That's not what you want. And on this particular vehicle, being a Mazda, we have to press it one more time. Now if you have a standard ignition, all you have to do is just turn it to the on position. Now that you have the top scan hooked to the vehicle, the app downloaded and registered, you're now ready to link the two together via Bluetooth. Now, a part of this process, you will need to have your location on. I tried to bypass this, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to do such, so I had to activate my location. But once you see some numbers pop up here, you know things are working. And once it's done, you can go ahead and click activate, and you're ready to make some adjustments and check some DTCs. And as an added confirmation, if you look at the scan tool, you should now see a blue light that is solid and a flashing green light confirming you are connected. With everything hooked up, you can now go to Diagnostics. From there, you'll be able to see a large list of various vehicle manufacturers that you can select from when connecting your particular vehicle to this tool. Now for me, I am working on a Mazda, so that's the one I downloaded first. The top left there should give you some confirmation to the vehicle that you have the information downloaded for, but there's various tiles here. Pretty easy to just kind of swipe to the left and right. To start, I'm looking at the I am readiness. I wasn't quite sure what exactly this was, so I just wanted to click on it. Looking back, I believe this is for emissions, so you can potentially clear some codes related to that, but I don't know why you would be able to clear this separately from just regular diagnostics, but I decided to go back into it, check out the second option for this I am readiness, but it was kind of the same exact thing as the first option, so I just decided to go back. Again, there is some different tiles on here you can check out. The vehicle performance, I imagine this is something that you can actually have the vehicle running and check live data. The VE calculator, probably something similar. I didn't spend too much time in here because that's not exactly what I was in here for. More importantly, here is the Diagnostics tab. We'll just go ahead and click on the Mazda. At this point, I have the two different downloads, the Mazda and the Saab, but here it's pretty simple. Did the auto, and it downloaded everything pertinent to the vehicle, but there's a lot of different options here, and honestly, this is no editing. This is real world time that it's checking all the different systems. So this is one of the quickest scanners that I've had, especially via Bluetooth, because I imagine there could be some lag there between the connection. But this thing checks all the different systems very quickly, and then surprisingly, it actually finds a fault that I wasn't expecting. So then in under 1 minute, it checked all these different systems and found one fault that I had no idea the vehicle had. And it's actually for, I believe, an amplifier, and it's probably something attributed to the vehicle and having a power loss. Being a 2017, it had the original battery, so the battery is inching towards 6 years old and started giving us problems, so we just recently replaced it. So I imagine that's what this amplifier code is from, but for now I'm going to go ahead and clear it, and then in a little while I can go ahead and check the check engine lights again. If it comes back, then I know I actually have a problem, but pretty cool that it ran through all these systems and so quickly. After clicking around for a little bit, diving deeper into this, I realized I found a pretty sizable list of different modules, and I thought to myself, maybe I can find the electronic parking brake module within this list. Lo and behold, I did. So I had a small glimmer of hope here, and I started clicking around. I ended up getting on this list, which I thought was really cool because you can presumably adjust the left versus the right brake caliper. There's some different values. Maybe you can bring it in, bring it out, whatever you need to do, but that unfortunately didn't do anything. But then I found the actuator position, the maintenance mode. If I thought by clicking that little gear, I would be able to drill down into it and change that value to on, and then put it in the maintenance mode, but unfortunately, that was just not the case. So no matter what I clicked on, I wasn't able to turn that maintenance mode on. Not having any luck putting this vehicle into the maintenance mode for the electronic parking brake via that scanner. So what we're gonna do is kind of just do the manual mode here. What you have to do is press the ignition twice, put your foot on the gas pedal and floor it, push down on the parking brake button, press the ignition 3 times. Pads have been changed. Definitely say we got our money's worth out of these. To get the vehicle out of the emergency parking brake mode for service, just kind of have to reverse order. So we're going to go ahead and press the start stop button twice. Go ahead and put your foot on the accelerator and floor it. Hold up on the parking brake button and then press the ignition 3 times. See if it works. Start the vehicle up. See if we have any errors. Looks good. Pedal feels good. Does the parking brake work? Sounds like it's on. Definitely on. Alright, double check that it's off. I think we're in good shape. So even though with this particular scanner I wasn't able to get this Mazda CX-5 into the electronic parking brake service mode to swap out those rear pads, you hopefully were able to see that you can look at a bunch of live data, do some other diagnostic stuff, look at the trouble codes, clear those out. But now I'm on to the point where I want to know, or I want to see what we can do with this little Bluetooth diagnostic scanner for my Saab 9.3. Now, if you know anything about these 9.3s, to do really anything, you need what's called a GM Tech 2 scanner. So I don't really think we're going to get too far with it. For starters, we're going to plug this thing in and actually see if we can connect or if they have the information available to sync up to a 9.3. Just like how we downloaded the Mazda information, we had to do the same thing for the Saab. In this case, I already have it downloaded. I have the information in there, 2008 Saab 9.3. And just right off the rip, we're going to go to Diagnostics and see what is available. Double click on that information. For the Saab, we'll go to the automatic. Now, initially with the Mazda, it popped up everything, but on this one, it asked for the ignition to be in the on position, which it was. I clicked OK. It brought up the VIN number to confirm it. And once I confirmed it, it kicks an error. It failed. So I selected OK. I figured, okay, maybe I can get by with the manual selection, but it wasn't a good sign that it only had 2010 95, 2011 94X in the 95, and then lastly the 2012 94X in 95. So regardless of year, the limited years that they have there, 2010 to 2012, they didn't have anything 9.3 related. As a last-ditch effort, I ended up clicking on the 9.5 selection, but unfortunately, all that did was freeze the app. So that's going to wrap it up on today's video of checking out this Topdon top scanner. I would like to extend a thank you to Topdon for sending it out. And second of all, I would like to just simply apologize because I'm sweaty and it's an extremely hot day in Central Ohio. But now that that's out of the way, I can give you my full-on honest review. That's how it works, right? So this scanner, I actually kind of struggle to figure out who it's marketed towards. I imagine the average DIYer, but for me, I'm a DIYer, a lot of DIY experience, but also I'm kind of on that side of leaning towards more mechanics because I have a heavy mechanical background. And for me, I still struggle to navigate to figure out exactly what I needed to do to get to the menus and all of that stuff. Now, with a little bit more hands-on, I imagine it'd become more fluid. Maybe with some research on their website, it'd become easier. I do appreciate the fact that they included this little instructional manual on how to link up the scanner to your car, to the app, via Bluetooth to make everything work. I do appreciate that, but me personally, I would have liked to have seen something a little more extensive, kind of like an owner's manual, where there's just more substance to it. So, for instance, when I'm trying to navigate to figure out the electronic parking brake service mode on this vehicle, how do I do that? I have no idea, so I just ended up clicking around until I found that menu, which once I got there, I couldn't activate anything. So maybe it's on me for not knowing how to navigate it, but I find that if there was some form of a legitimate instruction manual, it might have been able to get me to where I needed to go, or maybe that function just isn't there. But on the flip side, that's kind of the beauty of a little scanner like this, is it's ever evolving. They're always going to be adding more things to it, more options, more vehicle packs. And with that being said, my Saab 9.3, even though currently at this point in the summer of 2023, they have the Saabs there as far as the download pack, but for my particular vehicle being a 9.3, once you download the pack, you can't do anything with it because there is no 9.3. So I imagine if enough people ask about it, a developer for their company can make it happen. So that is the beauty of something like this. So at the end of the day, I do think this is an extremely powerful tool, something simple as far as there's no cords, nothing like that, and I find it to be pretty cost effective given the competitive market that this thing falls into. For what you get with it, it's a very powerful tool, and if you are interested, I will have the link in the description, and definitely check out this Topdon scanner and everything else out there we're Topdon, because quite honestly, they have a ton of other stuff and other tools. So if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you watching. Definitely consider subscribing for the other stuff I have out there. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop a comment down below, and I'll catch you friends next time.